So you know your birth card, and by now you should know how to calculate your card of your name. But if not, I'll link that episode to the description or the comments, depending on wherever you are catching this article or episode. But welcome back to The Cards Made Me Do It with Queen Daddy Saturn. I'm Ayafa or Tiara, and I'm excited to get into this today. So, you know those two cards, but there is a layer that I discovered, and I've been going down a little bit of a rabbit hole with it. And today we are going to get into it. Um, and I have some proof for you. So let's get into it. So, remember my episode, What's in a Name, where we delved into the Ashleys of it all? I think we did about 4 or 5 Ashley cards. And at some point, I think I said that something was my soul being card, but we'll get into that in another episode. Well, that is finally this episode. So I'm excited. I've been playing around with it in the long time that it took for me to finally get back into recording. And so I'm ready to share that with you. So let's get started. Okay, so like I said in the beginning, you know your birth card, you know your name card, but nobody ever showed you what happens when you put those two together. And it's similar to, but not the same as like your rising sign in astrology. But what I have figured out, it's like the invisible thread or rope that kind of pulls you along in life. And it's like humans, we are in a 3D world. And it's like that third dimensional layer, hell, fourth dimensional if you really want to get into it. But for the sake of having a comparison for it, I would say it's like that. And so it's important to note that yes, you can add on different layers and stuff like with nickname cards and stuff like that. But it's really important that with this, you're using the name that you actually were birthed by on your birth certificate at the moment in time you incarnated on earth. And here's why. It's funny because I come across people that don't like their name, and a lot of people just don't realize like you literally chose your name. Your name was a vibration that you set to work with, or frequency you set to work with here in this life, because you choose everything before you get here, but the fun is supposed to be in the forgetting when you get incarnated. So it's just really important to note that before you start calculating anything. All right, so you're adding your birth card, you're adding the card of your name, and so that's going to equal what I call your soul being card. And it's important that it does not scratch out either of the other two cards, but like I said, it's like an invisible string kind of tugging you along, or like a layer that's very evident once you get into it. It's the expression of your soul. So, the way I stumbled upon this was kind of funny. I got my certification, I think we're pushing close to 2 years ago. And then one of the requirements for said certification is to give a presentation, so you can prove that you know what you're talking about. And so I've always just been the type of person where I don't want to do everything that everybody else is doing. So I sought out to like kind of pick a celebrity or a public figure that was not problematic in my opinion. And so I stumbled upon the Maori twins, just scrolling social media. And then I saw a picture. I was like, oh, that would be cool. And then I was even thinking, I was just like, oh, it would be fun to possibly get into this because I have so many twins in my life. And then I have so many people who share the same birth date. And so they have the same card. And I'm like, yeah, I see some similarities, but I also see some differences. And so that led me to like really going in. At first, I started going in with the name card, and then I was just like, let me see what happens when I do this. So this is like midnight. I want to say the day before I was supposed to present because apparently I like working under pressure sometimes. And so I was sitting at my dining room table, like kind of going in on a tangent. But I just kept discovering more and more that, the more I stuck with it. So it was important for me to note this because this is not something that we were taught to just do in class. I actually kind of came in when the instructor was kind of on their way out of teaching at that moment in time. So I really got a crash course. But like I said, the cards have always stuck to me or like really stuck out to me. And so, like I said, I've babysat twins. I have a set of the twins for niece and nephew. Twins really run on me and my partners. They run on both sides of me and my partner's families. So I just started playing with it, and then I commune with spirit all the time, and sometimes they're from my antics, and sometimes they're just like, no, you need to chill out. And so, but this time, like spirit was egging me on. They were just like, yeah, that name card stuff is cute, but go deeper. And so deeper I went, like to the point where I got my little handy dandy notebook. So we're gonna get into this with the Maori twins. All right, first, I feel like I would be remiss if I did not tell you how the name card was calculated again. So remember, the letters of your name carry solar values. I hope that I'm able to put the chart up on this slide because I get frustrated with Canva sometimes and I might not, but it'll at least be in the Substack article at some point. But each letter, especially if it's capitalized or uncapitalized, that's very important too. They carry solar values. And of course, Amazon decided to ring the doorbell. But letters carry values. And so you add them all together. And if it's over the number of 52, you subtract 52 until you get a number under 52, and that is your card. And so even if the name adds up to like 200 something, you just keep subtracting 52 until you get that under 52 number, okay? All right. So remember, because Tia and Tamara are twins, they share the same birth card. They were born on July 6th, 1978. And so that makes them both the Nine of Diamonds, which is your philanthropist card, if you would so have it. Um, I'm not going to get too much into what the cards equal because I don't want to make this too much of a long episode if it doesn't have to be. So when you get into the name cards, Tia is a Four of Hearts. The Four of Hearts stands for family, marriage. And Tamara's name card is the Six of Diamonds, which is karmic settlement. It's the card of retirement. And that I feel like that is going to matter at some point. So forgive me because I went ham on these notes. I'm just let you see a little flash. I like to color code my stuff. I went ham on these notes, so bear with me trying to decipher what all I did in a frenzy. Um, so I just want to make sure there was nothing else. And so let's go down thing of, I want to say going down their birth card, which they share together. So some notes that I saw, like at they were military brats. They did pageants and talent shows. And I want to say at age 12, they were both displacing the three of spades and they wound up moving to California to pursue acting. And in 1990, they moved there permanently. And that matters for a reason, but not a reason I care to get into. And I found it interesting. I found it interesting that after Sister Sister, they both, after it ended, they both studied psychology. Tia went to Italy or Europe to study humanities as well. And at the age of 33, they were displacing the two of spades. And I noted on there that's the card of secret abuses sometimes. Um, and they started their reality show. And I recall seeing clips from the reality show or seeing stuff where it seemed like Tia was always kind of mean to Tamara. Um, so it's just interesting. Um, so getting into their name cards, like I said, Tia's is the four of hearts, which is family and marriage, and you see that with how well, before I did this, I want to say that they were not getting divorced, but Tia has always been very adamantly, you know, strong about her family values, I would say, and what I could see. And it's interesting because the six of diamonds with Tamara is the card of interracial dating. And I know what you're going to say. They are biracial. However, in America, biracials, especially people who are evidently biracial, are mostly seen as black for the most part. I'm not saying that to be a fact, but it's what I have witnessed in my time on this earth. So back to that. So we know that Tia married Corey Hardrick. He's a black man. And Tamara married Adam Housley, which is a white man. And I want to know. So forgive me because I'm about to be pulling up the spread because I need to know why I noted some of this stuff. My bad, son. My son is laying right here on my lap too. So I'm trying to work with this. Wow. He does his thing and he rests. But he may join us in a few minutes. All right, I stand corrected. Tia announced the separation from Corey October 4th, 2022, and their divorce was finalized April 2023. What is it, 2026? Okay, whatever. Irrelevant. The facts were still in there. All right, so let's continue. Again, I really didn't want to get too caught up in that because I wanted to get to the point of their soul being cards. And so when you reveal their soul being cards, Tia with the nine of diamonds and the four of hearts equals the king of diamonds, which is the card of financial mastery. And Tamara with her nine of diamonds and her six of diamonds is the two of clubs. And this is when I really like started going in. And so I found it to be so profound because Tia, it's seen in, her seriousness. The King of Diamonds is serious to me. They about their business. They don't play around. Seen in her seriousness as a businesswoman. She could possibly be a controlling lover. It's none of my business, and I'm not judging. You can see where she's very headstrong. I won't say stubborn because I don't like it when they try to label women as stubborn, but men get away with the same antics. But I digress. And I could honestly possibly see it in a reverse of relationship roles where she was probably nine times out of 10 the main breadwinner winner in her marriage with Corey. And so With Tamara, the way you see the two of clubs is seeing how she always seemed to be the jovial one or the jovial twin, like giving the air that she's possibly more pleasant to talk to, I'll say. You can see it with her being a former host on The Talk. Um, she never wanted to be the one to rock the boat. Remember, twos, they try to maintain balance for the most part, most twos. And so, was that Tamara co-hosted The Real from 2013 to 2020. And on 2021, she decided to be on The Masked Singer, which I found interesting because it seemed to revive her God card, which to her soul being card, which is the Six of Clubs, and it made her want to sing. Um, they both did a 4-book series, which was interesting. I won't get into that because it's not relevant. But my bad. Bear with me with these notes. And so going back to Tia, because I have to flip flop between pages to figure out where the hell I wrote what. So Tia had a cooking channel series from 2015 to 2017. In 2016, I want to say she had a podcast. 2021, she had a homeware collection. 2023, she was a part or owned a hair care line. And, that just speaks to that financial mastery, that being about your business and the entrepreneurship that can be seen with the King of Diamonds. And so I know I mentioned the God card to Tamara's soul being card was the Six of Clubs. Tia's God card to hers is the Nine of Spades. And so I decided to keep going on with the combos, and their combo together, which I didn't get too deep into, is the Five of Clubs. I think that denotes to how, expansive and how they move around and stuff, but I didn't get too deep into that because then I did the combo of their soul being cards and it wound up being the Two of Hearts, which is the soulmate card. Now, that led me to get even more into shared experiences because I think it's my primary ruling card being the Six of Spades. I get into soul things, karma and stuff of it all. And so I know that around the time that I did this, it was a little bit of controversy because Tia mentioned she wished her and Tamara was still close, especially around her divorce, and that sparked a little bit of something. And so I just really started looking at stuff, and so I think I saw that, you know, their shared experience in the cards. I have down that their Seven of Spades Mercury. They became born again Christians at the age of 8. With their birth cards. I really want to get into the stuff before this baby wakes up. So bear with me. Trying to keep it together because certain stuff I have to read and he's not going to make it easy to read. One thing I noted for sure, what did I put down? Something about Mars, so they're supporting karma, birth card, challenge card, whatever. One thing I know for sure is that they definitely came into this life with karmic ties. And it seems like it appears Tia could be slightly resentful of Tamara having a possibly easier time. Being that they share the same card, they are each other's fame and fortune and visibility card by name. Oh no, that was a big point. Yeah, they're each other's fame and visibility card by name. I felt like Tamara came to settle whatever she owed to Tia by way of activating that fame and visibility circuit in this life. But Tia might be a little bit resentful, like I said, because Tamara might appear to be having a easier time. Um, and so they're Mercury to each other, supportive karma by soul being spread. Tia is Tamara's Saturn via leadership, visibility, and recognition. And I want to say some type of way they're each other's results to their challenging karma. And I think that's the end of my notes for the most part. And so it's it's so many things. And like I said, I hope to God that I'm gonna put all these things on the YouTube slide. But if not, please check out the Substack to see the actual spreads and stuff I put to so that you could actually see those visuals too. But it's just so profound, and I believe most twins possibly come into this life with something like that. But it's really I'm so grateful to celebrities and stuff that serve as evidence, or I should say public figures that serve as evidence, the evidence we need to see that these sciences actually work. And so this probably won't be my last episode on them because they, like I said, I'm just so grateful to them because they even have their birth time as public record. So I could get into their natal chart along with the cards with just like the few minutes difference that they were born. So I might do this again, especially since it's been like a few years with some bits of updates in between. I'm sure that I could find. So, gratitude to them for this evidence. And so the Maori twins are really just the tip of, I want to say the mountain. I was going to say an iceberg, but I started messing around with looking at Kaylani's soul being card. I want to say I even looked at Prince and Michael Jackson together. And, so there's more case studies to this coming. Just stay tuned. So again, some things we glossed over because there was another episode in which we went over your name card. We've gone over your birth card. If not, you can simply Google your birth dates card in Cardology if I don't wind up putting the whole shebang here. We went over your soul being card. I'm going to call that my science because I haven't seen it anywhere. So I'm going to take claim for that. And we went over the Maori twins as proof. You see the evidence. So now you have the formula. I want you to go calculate your soul being card and drop it in the comments. Let me know if it resonates. And if you happen to get stuck or you simply want to go more in depth with what that could mean for you, my offering on my website, queendaddysaturn.com, for that is soul searching. So check me out, list it in the comments, and please be sure to like and share this video, this article, wherever you're catching this at. And thank you so much for being here. So now you have the formula. I want you to go calculate your soul being card and drop it in the comments. Let me know if it resonates. And if you happen to get stuck or you simply want to go more in depth with what that could mean for you, my offering on my website, queendaddysaturn.com, for that is soul searching. So check me out.